Catholic education in the heart of Dodge City began at Sacred Heart School on September 16, 1916, in the old church that had served the parish as a church since 1882. This historic day came about largely through events that occurred 2 years before. In the spring of 1914, two Paulist priests from Chicago appeared at Bishop John Hennessy's office in Wichita with a petition to give missions to the Diocese of Wichita. Bishop Hennessy consented, on the condition that a mission would be given to Dodge City. He knew Sacred Heart Parish had spiritually fallen into neglect and hoped that a mission would revive the church there. Father John Marks Handley was sent to Dodge City to give the mission an unknown to all concerned. This was to open a new and greater future for the parish. Father Handley's presence in Dodge City revived the religious spirit in the parish. Soon, there was talk about replacing the small frame church with a larger church, because he wanted the church to be a conspicuous ecclesiastical feature of the Santa Fe Trail. Father Handley decided to have the design treated in the spirit of the old Spanish missions. He acquired the services of Cram and Ferguson architects of Boston. The towering structure, complete with a bell tower, was constructed at a cost of $32,000. However, Father Handley's vision of the parish did not stop with the new church.
This is part of Gospel Hill, which historically, this is sort of the place where religion took its roots at the beginning of Dodge City. And Catholics who are making the city a better place, and how hopefully their faith is influencing them to do that. Civic leaders, business leaders, people serving, social services. How the Catholic Church has been a leader in helping the poor, helping the immigrant, providing education to those, who maybe otherwise couldn't have it. And so that's taken different shapes throughout 100 years. But I would hope that we would always have that love of God and love of neighbor be guiding us.
Sacred Heart Cathedral School seeks to provide a Catholic learning environment conducive to educating the whole child, spiritually, intellectually, psychologically, socially, and physically. It draws on the wealth of its Catholic and cultural heritage to offer a program of quality education which combines intellectual achievement with progress in the knowledge, love, and service of God and neighbor.
I like the teachers and how we can learn more about our faith in religion class. I wouldn't like it if I couldn't pray to God every morning, and because we need to thank him for all of the things that he's done for us.
I like Sacred Heart School because everybody knows everybody.
We were a close-knit family, 25 kids in each section of our class. Had very good experience with our Catholic school teachers, and at that time we were much more prepared going into Dodge City High School.
The old church building was moved from its foundation, set at 90 degrees, and attached to the rear of the new church, with a galleyway between. The Sisters of St. Joseph of Wichita opened the two-room school with 72 pupils.
So one of the big differences, especially in the early years that I went here, we were taught primarily by the sisters.
I was 5 years old, and I entered first grade, and my teacher was Sister Mary Carroll, and there were a lot of nuns in our school at that time, and I learned to read and spell and do numbers.
I have 16 years of parochial education. I spoke Spanish before I spoke English, and never went to kindergarten, so I always attribute my success to the fact that I was taught by the religious Sisters of St. Joseph, the Dominicans, the Benedictines, and so that I always thank God for that, because in by today's standards, I don't know if I would have had the same opportunities.
Sacred Heart School continued educating students in two rooms, with the students divided first through 5th and 6th through 8th for the next 12 years. By 1928, it was evident that the school had become too crowded and obsolete. A new building project was undertaken by another pastor, Father Joseph Klug. The old rectory, a residence just north of this church on Central, was moved and the old school was torn down. A two-story rectory and school with 4 classrooms and auditorium were constructed.
What we're looking at was all there was, this L, the church. This was the gym upstairs. Then when I went to school here in the 1960s, the shape of the school was the same, but there was no air conditioning, and so that's been added since then. There's been a lot of remodeling and that sort of thing. What we're looking at here was the rectory. When I went to school here, that's where the priest stayed.
Sacred Heart Church became a cathedral for the newly erected Diocese of Dodge City in 1951. The parish school had been known as Sacred Heart Cathedral School since that time. Both the cathedral and the school were placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1982. Learning by word and example to live as followers of Christ, children are led to that religious and personal development, which will enable them to take their place in society as useful citizens and well-adjusted Catholics who can meet the challenges of life with Catholic values, principles, and attitudes.
A few months ago, Jason had a basketball game, and after the game, he said, "Dad, I looked at the clock and knew that there's only 11 seconds left, and I needed to shoot the ball, and I knew it would go in because my teacher told the class that we need to have faith in ourselves and we need to believe in ourselves." And I don't think that's something that you get at just any school.
I choose to stay here yet today because my Catholic religion is important to me, and it's important for me to help spread the Catholic religion to the younger generation, which included my children when they were here and now my grandchildren too.
Sacred Heart Cathedral School serves Catholic elementary school children in Dodge City in grades pre-K through 8. All available resources are utilized to challenge the gifted and to supply the needs of children with learning disabilities and emotional problems. Special programs and services are offered in cooperation with Unified School District 443 and USD 613. The child's essential relationship with God and neighbor are deepened by opportunities for growth in prayer, assistance at the Eucharistic celebration, receptions of sacraments, and practice of Catholic virtue.
I would be most happy if a student coming to Sacred Heart Cathedral Catholic school could really hear who God wants them to be, and then have the courage to say yes to that. I'm an example of that. It took me a while to really hear and to have the courage, but if coming to the Catholic school can help a student to really understand God's plan for their life, well, then the world's going to be a better place.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.